In today's video, I am going to explain anatomy around coracoid process. Coracoid process is bony prominent of scapula on anterior part. Imagine this is anterior shoulder. There's chest in front of coracoid process. This is tiny bony prominent. However, this part is very important. Why is that? Because many tissues, many muscles attached to coracoid process. On the inferior part of coracoid process, there are 3 muscles attaching here. On superior part of coracoid process, there are ligaments, and deep inside there is another ligament. So let's imagine there are 3 muscles from inferior part of coracoid process. The most important one is pectoralis minor. Pec minor attaches to coracoid process in its running like this. This is very important muscle for scapular movement. When this muscle gets tight, that brings scapula to downward rotation. This rotational movement is very important for shoulder movement. When you want to move shoulder, your scapula needs to move simultaneously. It needs to move together like this. Then this movement, scapular upward rotation, is important for shoulder movement. Then what is function of pec minor? That is downward rotation. It is opposite movement. So if scapula is stabilized in this position, do you think you can move shoulder freely? Maybe not. That is why the flexibility of pec minor is very important. Next muscle is biceps brachii short head. Short head. Long head attaches to another part of scapula. But short head attaches to coracoid process. Biceps brachii is important for shoulder movement. Wait a minute, isn't biceps brachii elbow muscle? Yes, it is true. Biceps is important elbow mover. As equally, biceps is important for shoulder movement. Think about it. Short head attaches to coracoid process. That means that crosses shoulder joint. Thus, it can move shoulder joint. Very important muscle. Number 2, biceps brachii, short head. Next one is coracobrachialis. That is deep to biceps brachii. Coracobrachialis. This is also important for shoulder movement. These 2 muscles are kind of minor muscles for shoulder movement. Main shoulder movers are like deltoid, pec major, latissimus dorsi, teres major, rotator cuff, right? However, coracobrachialis, biceps brachii, they are as equally important for shoulder movement. Very important. Number 1, pec minor, important muscle for scapular movement. Biceps brachii short head, coracobrachialis, minor shoulder muscles, however they are important. These are muscles attaching around coracoid process. How about ligaments? What kind of ligaments attaching around coracoid process? See these ligaments? There are 2 ligaments. There is conoid ligament and trapezoid ligament. These 2 ligaments together, it is called coracoclavicular ligament. Indeed, these ligaments connect coracoid process and clavicle. Clavicle is important for upper extremity movement. When somebody has had a bone fracture of clavicle, it's hard to move upper extremity. It's freaking painful. Breaking clavicle inhibits movement of upper extremity drastically. Very important bony structure. Then, this ligament connects coracoid process, which is scapula, and clavicle. So this part is important to stabilize clavicle. Very important function. Coracoclavicular ligament. What about this one? This ligament connects coracoid process and acromion. Acromion is part of scapula. Wait a second. Coracoid process is part of scapula. Acromion is also part of scapula. Why does this ligament connect on the same bone? Usually, ligaments connect 2 different bones or 3 or more different bones, right? Like a coracoclavicular ligament that connects scapula and clavicle, different bones, right? What about coracoacromial ligament? this one connects same bone. What is function of this ligament? Well, think about tissues beneath this ligament. There are many muscles and tissues passing around this space. So one of functions of this ligament is to hold tissues beneath this ligament. It's like a supporter or taping for ankle joint. One of functions of this ligament is just holding tissue beneath this ligament. Very important ligament. One more ligament, that is this one. This is coracohumeral ligament. This one connects coracoid process and humerus. Here's the thing. When you open anatomy book and about shoulder ligament page, this coracohumeral ligament looks like that originates from tip of coracoid process, then it goes to humerus. It's like this. If you see this structure on 2 dimension, it looks like that from here, lateral part of coracoid process, and it goes to humerus. In reality, it's not that simple. Coracohumeral ligament is very deep structure. See that? This is lateral part of coracoid process. This is coracohumeral ligament that attaches to very deep part of coracoid process. So imagine it's like this here and deep part of coracoid process, posterior part of at this level of coracoid process. So it's running like this. This is real orientation of coracohumeral ligament. Interesting thing is when somebody has tight coracohumeral ligament, that inhibits internal rotation of shoulder joint. It's very rare thing because coracohumeral ligament is on anterior shoulder. Yep, it's on anterior part of shoulder. Usually, anterior shoulder tissues get tight. That inhibits external rotation, right? Can you imagine that? Anterior tissue tightness inhibits external rotation. That's natural, but interesting thing is coracohumeral ligament tightness inhibits for internal rotation. Very interesting, very important tissue. So if you know any kind of manual therapy, any kind of modality for coracohumeral ligament, that is important key for internal rotation restriction. When you think about internal rotation restriction, that's maybe from infraspinatus, that's maybe from teres minor. They are shoulder external rotators, right? But if you focus on coracohumeral ligament, maybe you have new idea to solve shoulder rotational movement. See, there are such important tissues around coracoid process. 3 muscles beneath coracoid process: pectoralis minor, pec minor, biceps brachii short head, coracobrachialis. They are important for scapular movement and shoulder movement. Many ligaments on superior part and deep part: conoid ligament, trapezoid ligament, also known as coracoclavicular ligament. Coracoacromial ligament, this ligament kind of holds tissue beneath this ligament. Then coracohumeral ligament. This is very deep structure, then it inhibits shoulder internal rotation. I hope today's anatomy helps for your clinical experience, anatomy class, or for so many things. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. See you next video.